Essence.
Welcome back to Exalted Essence, Crimes of Nature.
Essence.
This is going to be the first session that we are trying the this free final release, but Kickstarter material for the Exalted Essence rule set. As after going through the Kickstarter and reading through it and taking a good look at the mechanics and how they handled things in its design paradigms, I decided, yeah, this looks a lot better in almost every way. And I showed it to the players, and they largely agreed. So we have decided that rather than continue pushing the limits of storyteller systems don't like going past the number 3 or 4 on the power stat, and we were right about at the time where the system was really going to start showing its stress marks. And so, while going out on the high note, we have transferred over to the much simpler and much more accessible Essence rule set. So please bear with us, as there's likely going to be a fair degree of asking each other, wait, how does this work again? Or just checking in on dice pools and things like that. In general, it is more rules light. There is a crunching of abilities together into new names, so you might hear different ability or role names that you have not recognized before. But otherwise, it hopefully will be a smooth experience. And as for the plot last time, oh boy, the Hearth got into the basement of the Gonzoda Redoubt and discovered the source of the problems in the Redoubt, or rather, at least tangential sources of the problems, were the Nephrak that had been made of the lingering regrets and hatred of an old man's former student, Oak, a god tasked to serve a sidereal that had been haranguing the group, and finally coming face to face with Purple, the Executor, a chosen of endings, a bureaucrat of heaven who was very unhappy to see the group and made it abundantly clear what he thought of them in no uncertain terms. He used his mastery of esoteric martial arts to throw 2 parts of the group into the reflections of the amethyst around them, and forced the group into a 3-way boss fight. And Obsidian Shield and Yang quickly dispatched quickly dispatched the former Shade of Oak. Though it was a very tough fight, they managed to scrape through and seed bomb the creature to death by infusing it with life and fluorescence. Angler and Repose were face to face with the assassin god that had nearly attacked them and the family on the boat back on the Blessed Isle, and quickly found out the god didn't really have a personal interest in this, and in fact was quite unhappy with its current state of affairs. And in between trying to survive its onslaught, and while nearly gassed out on their ability to fight, managed to finally break through its conditioning and convince it to turn traitor against the Sidereal. Meanwhile, in the actual main chamber, outside of the reflections, the Sidereal attempted to inflict Old Man with a supernatural disease that would have been devastating, except Old Man is quite good at resisting that, and then things went downhill very quickly for poor Executor. He very much had a lot of his cards up his sleeve played to get the situation he wanted, and it didn't go the way he wanted, and so he was faced with having a horse fall on top of him and then wrap around him like a horrible spaghetti noodle. And then Old Man did the same thing. And then Balan roasted him, and then he eventually just hit the eject button rather than deal with the situation he had gotten himself into.
Fun note, Stalwart Daughter and Old Man in that situation probably weighed about the same.
Yep. And after that, and some discussion with the god and checking in on each other to see if they were all okay, there was an examination around the basement of the Redoubt. The device that had been the cause of the Amethyst curse, the little red pyramid, had been destroyed beyond basically all repair, beyond intensive first stage knowledge, and honestly, do you want to turn that thing back on? I don't think you do. The 2 War Striders only had their traces left behind by the footprints in the ground and the lingering sensation of a gate of the underworld being ripped open. It is not a Shadowland here, it was just forcibly torn open. Otherwise, most everything that had been made of magical materials or otherwise value was looted, and everything left behind has been turned to solid amethyst. And on its own, it's pretty fantastic and impressive in terms of statuary or using it as a weapon if you are able to do that. But it's mostly just rocks at this point. It's gems. Oh yeah, and incidentally, Old Man managed to find a sealed cask of the actual untainted quicksilver from back in the beginning of creation, where it was not horrible poison, and then drank enough of it to overdose anyway, and is currently undergoing a kind of externally looks like it is some sort of deep spiritual transformation. It's either that or it's neurological seizures, and it's hard to tell. Maybe it's both.
It's probably both.
You said the same thing twice. Old man is just old manning over there on the floor.
Hey, it came after him deliberately choosing to sit down, which is exciting and different.
So that is more or less where we find our group, is reconvening after the fight, and Old Man slammed the good shit and immediately fell over and kind of stopped. And then starts and stops and then starts.
I don't even know what to roll medically to see what the fuck's going on there.
So the new rule would be either, probably for you, finesse, because for the audience, who are not familiar, the 9 attributes have been squished down into 3: force, finesse, and fortitude. It is forceful approach, deft, sneaky approach, and just stubbornness, wading through it and, muscling through it approach.
Enduring.
Yeah, enduring. And for Yang, I would say a finesse plus sagacity roll. Sagacity, whatever, how you pronounce that.
You've
because
not started the
medicine
music yet.
Yes, I'm pulling that up on the side.
Did we put down finesse for Yang? Oh yeah, it's 5. Okay,
Yes.
5, so 10.
And the base difficulty of all rolls in Essence, unless otherwise specified, is a 3.
Is that a botch? The botches exist anymore?
Botches require you
6.
to roll no successes anyway. But that's 6 successes. So
that was 6 successes. Yeah. So you have not you hit the target, and then when you went 3 over, so you are right over. So you basically rush over to Old Man's side and immediately begin to
not really rush, if we're being honest.
Saunter casually over to Old Man's side, kind of pick up the wrist to put a hand on the throat, and first thing you notice is the blood pressure in Old Man is best described as more or less a constant drum solo, just smashing against the inside of the skin. It is
420 over 69, hooting and hollering every day.
Yes.
I think there's a concert going on now.
There are momentary spasms and seizures going on, but just general, pulling open the eyes and checking on the rest of it doesn't seem to be a lethal poisoning to you. Both because Old Man's physiology is terrifying in all sorts of different ways, and also it's not progressing in the same way you would expect a super fast-acting heavy metal poisoning to act. It's more like he's having a religious experience. So it seems like this is probably going to long-term be good for him. It's just probably going to be a hell of a ride.
Is there like a blanket nearby or something?
Yeah, you would be able to pull one out of your equipment.
So I'm going to roll one out, just kind of dump Old Man on it, and then turn him up into a burrito.
Basically, how to take care of him so he doesn't get himself injured while he's out. But otherwise...
No, I just think it'd be funny to wrap him up in a burrito while he's having a trip. And I'm going to just dump him
good practice.
over Obsidian's shoulder and then walk away.
Okay.
Repose has not stopped talking to Shea Khan since end of fight. Just a continuous stream of shop and small talk of getting ready for all manner of things.
Angler's asleep. at this point. He is tired. He is out of juice. He is taking a nap.
Milan's
Preparing
going
extensive literature.
to be actually coughing a little bit and is going to say, I need to get some fresh air, and is going to climb back up the ladder.
Stalwart daughter climbs up along behind. Obsidian likely following with old man. Angler might get a little nudge, just kind of as the rest of the group is going, if there's going to be some sort of camp made. From the sounds of things, the gambit to distract the ghosts up top has either worked, or a lot of their control has been shattered now that the presence of Oak is no longer there, and they've just kind of slipped off back into Leaf or have gone into the underworld completely. They've just left. So, top side is clear.
Now that this void is gone, what's the weather and wind and air like out here?
Kind of breezy, like it's a stabilization of the unnatural weather pattern. So it's a little weird as it's kind of sorting itself back together.
And a lot of that is what's going on with Milan right now, is just sort of coughing every now and then. Just, I'm not actually going to physically cough, but just there's something going on in Milan's lungs.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can't just cough on command because you have bad lungs that hate interacting with air in any way.
I think if I see Milan cough even once, I will actually go and then rush over there.
Raging demon up the ladder, somehow above on the ladder, just like, hello.
Yeah, how's them air sacs doing there, Chief? Huh?
I feel like I still haven't gotten my breath back after the whole, void jerk. We threw the door at him. You hit him with the chair.
I did what?
That was Obsidian.
No, I hit him with the chair.
Oh, no, yeah, right.
But also, you were incredibly high at the time. Yeah, just feeling like I can't quite catch my breath.
Do I have anything for this? Hold on, let me see if I. Do you want weed? Nah, that'd be a bad idea. No, it's stupid.
Offering to someone who is in the middle of coughing weed.
I also love. You want weed? No, I'm not gonna offer you weed.
Not you.
No, that's stupid. I would just make it. Yeah. No. But yeah.
Quick question: is the music still playing on your end?
No,
Is
it
not.
has
Nope.
stopped just now.
Okay, let me try.
It was paused.
I noticed that it said paused stream, and I was like, no, why?
But yeah.
So is there any medicine rolls you would want to do? Any examinations? Any back
Yeah, I
and forth from
rolled
either of the
them.
two?
I made a second medicine roll.
Milan's not looking
Yes, no, I think so.
That
as
stream's having
healthy,
trouble
but is
loading back
fine.
up.
This is the in character reason for losing Ox Body technique. Milan's got a bit of the
You look softer than usual.
further coughing. I'll be fine.
Wow.
Hello?
I think Darren had to try and
Yeah.
restart.
Darren has collapsed and is fallen.
All right, DM is dead.
Well,
I
I'd be
am
willing to
DM
bet
now.
money that
Essence.
Darren's cat stepped on the power switch again.
That or just Windows is betraying us at the last minute.
Be quick. We need
I am the
to come
DM
up
now.
with. All
I
right.
want you all to immediately roll initiative because we have got mechs coming in. That's right. A system without initiative, I'm going to force you to roll it.
I activate Hall of Mirrors.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
All right. That's 2 successes on my initiative.
You go last.
Understandable, as is the Milan way.
All right, anyone who rolls lower will still go above you.
The Great Barrier beneath.
A Blackbeard has arrived. That's right, I'm using a PC mech as an enemy.
Dear
You're not
God.
supposed to do that.
Yo ho har.
Well,
Maybe a cursed week.
these things
We'll
happen.
see.
Hello.
There's Darren back in call.
Okay, I can hear you.
All right, let's
Okay, there you
start.
In the absolute hell just happened there, let me try and very carefully share my screen again, and hopefully that doesn't blow stuff up. What? Now it's not even showing up in the... Alright, hang on.
Make sure that the window is on top. You know, you have opened
Would
it
a full
from
computer
your
restart help, or did you do that?
minimize.
Okay.
No.
Wait,
Now it says stream paused, swap to application to resume. Driver
is their application?
software timeout. Okay. I'm not...
I will restart my PC if you haven't already.
Yeah, hang on. Sorry about this, everybody. I think I'm having driver issues.
Your driver probably crashed at some point.
Yep, I'll be right back.
Driver and or codec, whichever one.
All right, since no one else has rolled initiative, I have first action. I'm going to make a skirmish move, and then I'm going to attack this pillar right here with my anti-material rifle.
Fuck is a skirmish move?
So you're gonna go ahead and do that with 1 accuracy.
Yes.
So D20 plus D6 plus 2, I think. Because I'm sure your grit's at plus 2 now, right?
Ooh.
Oh
26.
shit, that's a crit.
All right.
Good stuff. I think an anti-material rifle did like 2d6 plus something. Hold on, I've got the book right behind me. I should just open that up.
All right, that's a 1331 on a 42d69.
That's not the number you roll, you scoundrel.
Witness true power.
Oh no!
The fudge dice. Oh my.
It's a really good roll.
That's as good of a roll as you can get with fudge.
Okay, I'm gonna use my
Half
cipher
guns.
to attack the enemy chanter. And let's see.
What the hell
That would be a good name
did
for
you
an enemy.
immediately mutiny?
That's a graze.
What?
Maybe.
That is a graze. You can do what's the normal damage that you do here, and you'd be cutting that in half.
Like 10, so it's like, I think, actually 3 with soak.
Oh yeah, that tracks actually.
Alright,
What are you
I
laughing at?
apologize. Just the absurdity of popping back in to see the dice that have been rolled in my absence. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Let me pull back up what I was hoping to.
You may now reveal your scripted actions for the first 3 volleys of combat.
All right, I am doing bunker down, bunker down.
I have decided
and
I
bunker
am
down.
John.
You are John now.
All right.
All right. What are the 2 skills that you assigned to John?
Let's see here. Pain train and farts easily.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Anyway.
Anyway, the whole operation. So anyway,
So, what I was trying to ask before my drivers exploded was there any sort of interaction or role that Milan and Yang would have over the cough? Or what,
No.
Yeah, I rolled a 6 to
And-
just do a physical.
and what would that have gotten from Milan?
Milan has quote unquote lost ox body technique from having air dragon form with
Okay.
lungs.
So, narrative justification. Okay, yeah.
Yep. But also, now that we're up here, Milan is sort of looking around the area, taking a survey of the Gunzoda.
Just go back over to.
The sheer difference of Milan coughs once and Yang full, like, someone said fuck, freaks out over it. And old man is literally writhing on the ground with
Old man is actively having a organomercury seizure, and this
old man drank an entire amphora of heavy metal, and Yang takes his time coming over.
So what I want to do is just get a general glance survey of my feel of where we are position wise. Like, how's this fort other than the rank feng shui?
Meaning,
Like its position. Like, Milan's getting an idea of what do we want to do now that we have this giant amethyst fort.
roll me. I guess that would be finesse embassy to kind of evaluate it. Difficulty 5.
Can do.
Trailing note there, so to remind, Repose had all manner of suggestions for Shaya Khan to appropriate any number of potential relics from these ruins on their way out. And Repose is going to be leaving some notes to, meet up with me again in an appropriate venue so that we can conduct introductions. Repose has 2 ventures he would like to embark on over the next however long, and both of them involve Shaya Khan. One, combining with other threads I have left open that have not been touched on yet, just because it hasn't been dramatically appropriate, doing some introductions of some new divinities to the local environment, because he also has the gem he received from Madame Karst while visiting the foothills.
Yep. So yeah, that was venture 1, was just make introductions to the locals.
So we want to set a magnitude of time that spans.
That's pulling back up all the all the sheets that I had open that crashed. Let me go over to the venture section and get an eyeball of it, because
It's actions, scenes, or sessions.
Oh, this reminds me.
I'd say. What's up?
Hey, Bradway,
What's up?
what was Milan's shaping ritual?
Milan's shaping ritual was... I think I took the geomancy one.
Yeah, the heptagram.
Yeah, the
So-
heptagram.
Okay. Just curious.
All right. So yeah, with the standard duration of a venture being 4. All right. So and the other venture I would like to have just noted out loud is is talking about, well, you deal in martial applications of magic metals. Hey, recommend me an alloy for a thing for a friend.
Yeah,
Just a bunch of anonymatized details about a certain fencer I know.
Alright, that'll be sessions. That is the
Yeah,
time scale
that's-
of that one.
Yeah. Artifacting is a session's timescale. And you also do your rolls at the end of intervals, so.
Okay, and I thought my actual question to Darren is, What is the military benefit of this fort right here?
Right now, it shakes hand. You could get some military use out of it. It would be not optimal. You would, if you wanted a full fort to control both rivers, you would probably rebuild it in the original place that this place's original inhabitants were before it got blown up. Because remember, this was a retreat point. This was a rallying point after they lost their initial position. Now, for that purpose, if you unfuck the feng shui and you use this as a supply line or like a defense-in-depth fortress for somebody who's attempting a landing on the rivers, this could be pretty good for that.
All right. What I'm getting at here is we are currently sitting on top of the spoils of a victory against Lookshy. We have options.
Yes.
We can take this for ourselves. We can hand this to the realm and Grey Falls. What do we want to do with this fort?
Option 3, bury it.
It would take months to demolish this. It's a giant brick of gem.
I
Yeah.
understand, but there's too much
This
death
is just
here.
an overly complicated amethyst mine right now, to be honest.
Yeah, that is kind of option 3, is that you just basically let scavenging take its course and
Propose
people will
will-
just come in and chisel pieces out
Propose
of it.
will start to methodically go around and begrudgingly, respectfully knock over each former human body statue that is here, and just allow each of them to be shattered into unrecognizability.
Yep.
He's gonna spend a while, de-identifying this entire outpost.
Just doing the proper funerary rites that they never got, because, yeah.
Doing as close to them as he will get without... He still doesn't like the 7th.
Yeah.
While watching Repose do that, Yang is gonna sort of sheepishly ask, "So should I burn this down?
It's made of rocks.
I can find a way."
Shere Khan gives a look to Yang of just, ow.
It's rock.
You can burn rock. Actually, I
Oh.
think I might have a charm for this.
While people are discussing, Angler realizes that he didn't quite finish something down below and is going to reach back into his pocket and pull out a brush and walk over to Shea Khan and adjust the thing he painted on Shea Khan's side earlier. It had been a fish and a moon. He's going to put 3 stars inside of it and look up and say, "That's my family sign. You are always welcome with us. Excuse me for not being more diplomatic about this. I am extremely tired."
Music has stopped again.
And yes, I got another notification. Music may be haunted today. I will give it another shot, but music may just be haunted. And
Music is haunted, then I will just put on something else.
yeah.
Yeah, display drivers might not be having fun with all that fun stuff.
AMD. Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm gonna make this shovel legendary so I don't lose it.
You don't want to lose your shovel.
I double checked and
Testing.
Hello.
anti-material rifles do 2d6.
All right, I shall roll 2d6 damage.
Okay, so yeah, music is going to be on Loon's End for this session. I will figure out whatever audio driver gremlins are being haunted until by next week, I hope.
If you decide there is a song that should be on, just
Yeah,
message
I will
me
shove it in
to
Tabular or
YouTube
something.
and I will.
So,
So what I'm getting at is we're currently sitting in territory with no owners, no gods. This is free real estate. Do we want to take this for ourselves? Do we want to hand this to Grey Falls to curry favor and maybe get some benefit out of this? Or is there anyone else we want to give this land to?
There's no one else that can hold it unless Grey Falls doesn't want it. They're going to take it whether other people are given it or not. So we should
Weren't
give it
they
to them right away.
already sending someone of their own to
They have people that
investigate?
were watching the area. We can go
They
over
were
and
watching
tell
the
them that we
perimeter,
fixed
yeah.
it.
They might be
Well, in
nearby.
that case, just like visibly disengaging, going back to smashing and sweeping, but just while passing by beneath, remember to haggle.
You can't hear it, but I'm wiggling eyebrows.
Since we're going to be going back to talk to them, we should probably make sure if there's anything here we want to take. Since we cleared it, we get first dibs.
And I'm assuming that the group has taken the fancier bits of, items and stuff to smuggle out ahead of time.
Milan's going to look around, find like a piece of amethyst something, and then just pocket it.
Angler's gonna see a helmet that has peacock feathers in it and go, psh, too gaudy, never mind. And then look down to see if he can find something a little bit better. But definitely gonna be looking for smaller, formerly porcelain pieces or something that he can quickly pocket.
Ooh! Milan goes over to the helmet, chips off one of the peacock feathers. Neat.
The light reflecting through it is certainly a unique experience.
After doing some rounds of clearing up former bodies, Repose will get the idea to go down into the kitchen and over to where food was stored, and probably find that Mode is already there, staring intensely at a petrified rat.
Yes. Or like a petrified rat, petrified cuts of meat, just staring, just like, what cruel god
Stored
did this?
food and pest that was opportunistically gnawing at it in the haunted kitchen.
Mo just like gives a soulful, mournful look back, like, what monster would do this to me specifically? But yeah. Upon
Carefully reach down and chisel away underneath, and then collect mouse figurine. That will have use.
Upon collecting some of the material to take away, Shea Khan basically gives regards and intention of, like, I'm gonna get out of here and lay low, work on the stuff that you've been setting to do. And with that, goes back to dematerialization and it's back out.
Just to make
Off
sure, because
they
you
go.
were having audio issues at the time, did you hear the thing where I drew the finished symbol on him? Okay, good. Cool. I'm done.
So, what time of day was it? Probably is getting into the late afternoon, and if it's not, I'm saying it is now. And as you said, you're all probably exhausted after the fight. So you can either go out and try to meet out with the folks from Grey Falls now, or you could try camping over for the evening or the night, whatever it is.
Let's camp somewhere that's not incredibly cursed.
No one should sleep in this.
Yes.
That much is known.
Too late. I'm already doing it
Why?
because I'm not awake yet.
You don't have
Well,
a
you're
choice.
over Obsidian's shoulder. I already established that.
Oh no, old man had a heart attack and passed away. You hate to see it happen.
The vibes
All
were
he
just
was
too
old.
bad.
Is there a flagpole or something?
Oh yeah, somewhere around here probably.
Yeah, Angler would take just some cloth or something that he could find either from one of his compatriots or if he's got some, and would put something up there that is like a very rough symbol of Grey Falls, just so that if people are watching, they can go, "Oh, okay, it is safe now."
He'll
But
have to climb up there and tie it, the rope.
fine.
any system that was there for hoisting stuff is gone.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
Do I need to roll this?
No, this is pure merit.
Yeah, just he would go up there and tie it, slide down the banister, have a wonderful time doing it, and then head on out.
So, get back out to map level scope. This is probably just heading out, and would you leave the Amethyst Fields entirely before camping, or just get away?
Well, if anyone wants to sleep on rock.
Yeah. Let's not sleep on
Also-
rock.
Also, just as we are moving on to this, then, I think I would want to kind of take all of the ideas that I already put out there while talking to Shea Khan and have that have been the first scene of introduction.
Yes.
Just having put in a lot of work of talking to Shea Khan and
Yeah,
getting
that's the
them
first
ready
scene
to
of
be
the venture.
reintroduced.
Okay, so that would be...
So,
What are we defining as the role on this venture? Probably embassy?
yeah,
Embassy.
well, like the main. So the workflow would normally be you define the obstacle first, and then I
Yes.
propose a way to have overcome it. But I feel like I've
And
kind of flipped this
retroactively,
around and asserted the first obstacle that I'm dealing with of
get on the side.
getting our guest up to date.
So that would probably be a, like... Honestly, I wouldn't even make it roll because last session was so well done that it just count the first obstacle of, I'd say, 4 out of the way.
All right. Very good.
Okay, and so the group settles down at the edge of the Amethyst, and again, so like more openly and transparently, there is going to be a series of dream sequences when you all go to sleep at camp. Do you want to do anything with the Grey Falls people before or after?
That will be later.
Okay.
That will be post sleep.
So each of you is going to get dream sequences, and I'm going to be a little upfront and say that some of them are going to be a little heavy on content. They're not going to be all the way heavy, but there is going to be a visit in, for example, Obsidian's dream is going to be about his father. Yang is going to dream a little bit about his youth and other things like that. So
Okay, in
subject
that
matter will
case,
be a little heavy.
in that case, I do want to say what I, the player, want out of what we'll be doing, giving Gonzoda to Grey Falls, is Milan wants to weed out getting like a settlement in House Beneath's name set up much closer to the fork of the river.
So have Beneath be the one in control of the river fork.
A Beneath settlement there, with an inn giving the proper like bribes. Oh yes, you will be our most important protection. We'll of course
That will be, I will call that a bureaucratic venture.
Yeah.
That'll be 3 obstacles, time scale is 1 scene of addressing an obstacle, and the first one will be addressing the satrap.
Yes.
So that'll be how that works. So, who wants to go to sleep first? Well, technically Old Man is the one who's really got the first thing first. Old Man has been conked out for a while. Old Man's got some brain to catch up on.
Sure does.
Oh,
So,
let's
while-
get an old man scene.
While the Hey newbie, I know you said you don't want me to use Breath of Fire music. Do you mind if I use one for this scene in particular?
I don't remember saying that.
Okay, that was a long time ago, and you mentioned, I think, because of wanting to play it at some point to not have emotional association or whatever, but anyway. For Loon, I will link in Tabula. This is what I want playing in the background.
Ah, damn it.
You got it.
All right. As the group is settling down for the night in their campsites and beginning to set up watches, gathering together, Old Man, ramped up in the blanket and having people taking turns making sure that he's not dying, is lost in his own, not his mind, I would say. A little more deep than that, a little more complicated than that, a little more esoteric, a little more. Old Man's lost in his soul.
Sure is.
Old Man has, as far as he can think of right now, his brain is very foggy, very tired, very. His body feels heavier than it has ever felt, and he's not even got the skin of copper on right now. He is walking with bare feet on the stone of a mountain, ascending to the top, where there is an immense oak tree with breaking out roots through the top of the stone, and cannot even muster the effort to bring out the sorcery, and instantly is like, I have my feet on the ground, but I don't care? This feels important. This feels... Something here mattered. Something here was... Where... What happened anyway? Where are you? Where is... Who is that? Who is that? Is that... me?
All right.
You see your younger self sitting quietly at the base of the tree in a meditation pose.
And Old Man will do his best staggering walk up to it as he's fully exhausted from whatever it was, whether or not it be him metaphysically climbing this mountain this whole time inside of himself. And just trying to try and stagger over to that would have been Li Tongmian, I believe.
Yeah, Li Tongyan.
Yeah.
The figure that maybe it is you, maybe it is a figure with your younger face. It's unclear. It feels strange here. Gives you a smile as you approach and gestures by the seat. There was a seat? There's a seat. There's a cushion next to him, next to the tree, for you to both sit under, nestled in the roots of the tree.
That
The shade
is good for my bad joints.
The shade feels quite nice. You didn't realize the sun was so hot up here. It's bright. It's bright enough to hurt your eyes. And did you always have this much trouble breathing this high up? The air is so thin. It's so much. You're so tired. And here you are looking at yourself, and looks like a day hasn't passed since the pyre took that face from you. Figure just smiles. Is this what you thought was going to be at the top?
Gonna go and look around and then... Not really.
Did you ever have an idea of what was going to be there, or was it the journey that was carrying you?
Not really again. I never really thought about what was at the top. It kind of didn't matter.
So how does that make you feel now that you're here? You're done.
Well... Not quite validated. Suppose that's the way I'd put it.
There's another infuriatingly familiar cryptic smile on your face, leaning against the back of the tree. Do you have an idea of where we really are?
Not a clue. This is a bit of metaphysical that I'm not actually much of an expert in. For all of my bluster, when I get down to it, I haven't really had as many spiritual experiences as maybe even the average sorcerer out there, do you know? I've been
Well-
doing it for 100 years.
I'd say that a lot of sorcerers haven't had something like this, but I don't know for certain myself. I don't think I ever existed before you showed up here, and I'm pretty sure we're both going to die when you wake up.
Well, that's a possibility, but why would you think that would be the case?
Call it a hunch. Call it a connection. This place isn't. Hmm? Sorry.
Old man's actually going to get and like do his absolute best, cracking every single bone in his body as he gets up. He's gonna hold a hand out to Li Tongman, young man. Would
Takes the
die
hand.
here when we wake up. Oh, these bones don't enjoy this. Or that old man's going to go and gesture at the tree. Oh, we're still at the base of this tree. There's nothing saying that we can't climb even higher.
Right. And as your eyes look over the branches of the tree and trace them towards the east, where the sun is hanging high in the sky, you see a flicker of a silhouette sitting on one of the farthest branches, overlooking. You hadn't stopped to look off the mountain, but it looks like everything. As you look down the path of the mountain and down into the foothills and down into the vast expanse below, it is like less looking at landscape and looking at a drawn out map of where you've been, both as a person and where you have been as a mentality. You can see all of the twisting and turning and walking in circles, the wandering, the getting lost, the turning back, the jumps forward.
When you really look at it like that, I still haven't been all that many places.
Whole world out there you haven't seen. A whole lot more beyond that. The figure turns and locks eyes with the old man.
Mm-hmm.
There's the sensation of remembering this conversation from the other side, but not as a younger self, as something almost inexplicable from the mindset old man has in the flow of time. It's more that you are living this moment at the same time twice.
That makes sense, yeah. Well, I'm gonna need a hand here, I think, as the old man, like, starts to put a hand on the surface of the wood and do his best to try and climb up. Hopefully getting help from the younger one, where he is also in turn helping that one up as well.
Generally, slowly helping each other climb.
Mm-hmm.
And
Whether or not we
as-
get to the branch that Oak is on, perhaps.
As you climb up towards the branch of oak, the figure turns back, and it looks like the oak that you left behind, the eyes of the oak you saw die.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. Getting what you wanted.
Does bother me that you didn't manage to make it too. Only a little bit. Deep in there. But it does.
Oh, what's
I can only lie to myself so much, Oak.
The only way further up is to be honest.
Ah. At least mostly honest, I think. Hands on hips, turning around actually back to Oak.
There is a very slight laugh, but a kind of shake of the head of honest to yourself, if nothing else.
I think I can do that one.
You'll understand. Tifu?
Yes, young Oak?
I never hated.
A moment of actual silence, and then I don't think you did. You might have thought you did at some point, but I agree. I don't think you ever did.
I don't know where you're going to go from here. I'm pretty sure this is
Well,
the
I'm gonna
last
go
time
from
we're-
here. Old man looks back at turns around, actually brings him in his view, and then actually kneels down with surprising amounts of vigor, and then grabs him by the hand and also put a hand on his chin, and then jerks his chin up. That's where I'm going. We might have run out of tree and we might have run out of mountain, but there's still a whole sky up there.
Hope smiles gently. I wish I could be there to see it with you, but this is the last time either of us are going to be here and look at that sky. Wake up, Lee. It's time to face the world. You can just feel a sudden surge of awareness as the environment around you begins to dissolve away, as the face of your younger self and the face of your student vanish, as the tree begins to give way but you don't fall, as the sky itself seems to come down towards you. And you feel like you're flying. You wake up.
When old man wakes up, he is going to have one of those full-on sleep apnea, just gasping for air wake-ups. Trying to suddenly breathe as best he can. And then he's going to suddenly start shining visibly with a gleam that glitters like it's off of polished but very, very thoroughly beaten metal. You know?
Yeah, like the shimmering.
Almost like a water glimmer, you know?
Yes. Something inside you is different. You feel
Sure is.
Old man feels like there is an instant intuitive understanding of the person who went to sleep after that Mercury is dead. The person who woke up is the same person in a sense, but that body, that person, that mind, there's been another disconnect.
the body has been burned on the pyre again. This time it took.
It's interesting to go through this experience twice. It was strange to go through it the first time.
The man is now an exigent of himself.
Yeah.
That's a pretty
Just
fucked up story.
Old man, self-chosen.
Yeah, just going to go ahead and repeat that. Old man is an exigent of his own divine status, which existed only very briefly, and then was used, more or less, to then obtain itself to create an exigent
Yes.
of that divine being.
Briefly became divine, immediately burned out that divinity to create an exigency and slammed it back into the dead body.
Yeah.
Again.
Did old man just launder divineness?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
That's ascension.
It's an ascension of a kind. It works.
Sidewise.
That's
It
right. He's an
works.
alchemical.
To more expressly explain some stuff, he is specifically a celestial exigent of himself,
Yes.
who resonates with star metal.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
Old
old
man
man
sends to
has-
spaceman.
Old man has now had all of his wild mutations turn into charms, and has
Yes.
had a couple additional charms added as well.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be a weird, long, winding road for the rest of Old Man's seeking of the power, but consider this the golden core breakthrough. Alright, who wants to have their scene be next?
Yeah, sure. Let's get this over with.
Alright. I don't have a vignette scene for you, so we may not have.
I'm just going to leave this track on loop and step away a moment.
Okay. So, Yang, I do have a question as the storyteller.
Yeah.
How often does Yang remember his dreams? What are they usually of?
Incredibly abstracted. They're usually just shapes chasing him, honestly.
Alright. So, the first thing that is unsettling to Yang is that when the dream begins, first there is a conscious lucid awareness of, I'm dreaming. Second, there is an awareness of, I'm in a place.
Oh, I hope I don't see the triangle today. I hate that motherfucker so much.
Third is the sudden sinking realization that you are in a place you know. You're waking up as yourself in your current, everything. Except you're waking up in the bed you grew up in as a child in the Excelsi compound that you were raised in.
Oh, you know how it's really comforting when people wake up in their bed from a night, but this is like
The reverse.
the metaphysical, actual, like polar opposite on every level you can conceive.
You are waking up in your dream in that bed.
First internal thought is, fuck, I knew it was all fake.
You look down at yourself, thinking that, and you see, wait, no, I haven't grown. No, I'm still wearing all my clothes. You touch your face and feel your mask, and that is reassuring to you rather than feeling your face. And you slip out of bed, and a couple of things strike you at once. One is, this room is somehow even smaller than you remember. It is barren, it is cold, it is drafty, it is in ways that you could not even have had the context to have as a child. A miserable place, down to a spiritual level. The second thing that strikes you is you smell blood. Strong, strong scent of blood.
Is it always this rancid in here?
The door into the room is slightly ajar. And you walk out towards it and move it open. And, well, the question of where the blood was coming from is immediately answered. In the hallway is one of what was, at the time, one of your they called them classmates. It's weird combination of sibling slash rival slash fellow assassin versus slash also being indoctrinated person. They're dead on the ground. They have a sword through the gut and have solidly been there from the smell of it for a couple of hours.
Oh, hey, wow. Scaring won the lottery. Good for him. He doesn't have to fucking deal with this anymore. Jealous. Moving along, like, pretending he cares, basically.
As you basically step through the blood, you notice that there is a trail of footsteps in the blood that feels like you should remember. It's on the edge of your brain that you don't recognize. And as you are walking, there are more and more people that you recognize of people that won the lottery and got out, in a sense. And in some people where it's just like, oh, you know, I wish you would have died a more painful way, but I guess that works. Just a series of, it looks like a attack either from the inside or an unexpected ambush that people were scrambling to stop and just couldn't and were overwhelmed. And
At this point, Yang is actually experiencing hope for the first time in his life. It's just like, oh my god, did the Excelsi die overnight? I don't have to care anymore. While he's in the middle of, the bodies of the people he grew up in.
And then something strikes you as you go through the hallway into the main courtyard of the compound outside of the buildings. Is, first of all, the thing that strikes you is that it's on fire. Second thing that strikes you is that you don't feel heat. Third thing that strikes you is it's completely silent. The flames are making no noise and emitting no heat, but they are steadily burning the entire compound to the ground.
Good. I wonder who did this.
As that thought comes to your mind, you walk down the central walkway of the courtyard and see a balcony of the main head of the family, the head of the household's building. There's a balcony upon which the man that you called father is leaning over the barrier by his waist. And on the back of his robe, you can see a single bloody footprint pressed against the entire inside of his shoulder blades. And his neck is kind of collapsed inward and bleeding as though a garrote had been wrapped around it and the foot pressed down to press into it while he was over the railing. It's the same footprint that you had been following.
I'm gonna measure my own foot against it.
Close, but not quite. It's not quite there. It's like similar, but it's like the edges are too sharp. It's like a metal foot. Something just feels off about this entire setup. As you approach the main building and enter it, then all of a sudden, you feel the change in the air and the change in your dream, and it goes from a solid, full kind of memory of the place to snapping into abstractions immediately. Now, instead of you walking into the building, you are in the emotional tie to this building. You are in your memory of the building in your senses, but not as the place. and you feel on the edges of your perceptions that abstract feeling of something circling you, of something hunting you, something observing you. But not with killing intent, with evaluating it.
That match what I felt like when we talked to that one murder demon.
Not quite. It has the same sort of vibe of death, but worse. Just where the bloody hand had felt like, this is just a demon. This is not a demon. This is a god doing its job. This feels like this is enjoying. This is having a good time, and it is looking at you and is looking, alright. Do we have a protege? Do we have follow-up? It's the uncomfortably familiar feeling of being sized up for what can I use you for?
Man, what do you want?
Instead of a response in words, there is a response in emotion. And the best way to describe how it comes across in your dream is that there is a ripple through space, like it is thick and made of water, that bounces across your mask, and like trying to jostle the mask off.
No.
There is a pause and a second, much more insistent shove on the mask.
I see what's happening here. You think violence is cool, huh? You think it's useful. I mean, you think this is stopping some sort of hidden potential.
Silence.
Man, go away. I don't care anymore. I'm done with that.
A figure looms in from... It's dark now. A figure looms in from the dark, and a red hand, not blood, but metal, reaches out, grabs the mask, and pulls it off of you. And all of a sudden, you go from Thousand Miracles Yang back to Aang, the child, in this building. The hand is holding the mask, and you suddenly realize this isn't, I want you to murder for me. This is, face what you are. Face what you are hiding behind that mask.
Oh, you want to wrestle? Huh? You want to take shots at me, huh? You think you just come over there and take that, huh? You think that's cool? I don't care what sort of level of analogy we're on, but you get that shit back.
The hand crushes the mask.
Now I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And then I'm going to make another one. I'm not going to kill you, though. Just beat the shit out of you. Because that's what heroes do. And I'm a hero. Because I decide I'm a hero.
The presence feels pleased by that, and you're not sure you like that, as the dream begins to fade away back into abstraction.
Wait, no, come back here. Let's talk about this. No, I'm trying to piss you off. Fuck, man.
And the rest of the dreams of that night are just dissolving back into the usual abstract chaos.
That's right, it's a triangle all along.
Alright. That That's 2 down. Who would like to go next?
Yeah, fuck me up.
Hmm?
I said fuck me up.
Preemptively, with what I'm anticipating, I would like to go last.
I was thinking of Angler last, but I will also let you go last if there's no so.
With what I am anticipating doing, I would like to go last.
Okay. Um, there is in Obsidian's mind a more what? Okay, so also same question for Obsidian. What does Obsidian usually dream, and does he usually remember it?
It varies from day to day. Sometimes he the thing about Obsidian's dreams is that some days they are vivid and he recalls them, some days they are not. He gets those kinds of dreams that like a few days later he gets a big sense of deja vu and was like, wait a minute, I've been here before. Mainly because he dreams about life a lot. Sometimes it is a supposed future, sometimes it is the past, as a woman would, especially one that has such a deep scarred connection to war.
Give me a second to think of the setup. It's a dream where Obsidian, for a moment, feels like it is still awake and is still on like a watch duty on the camp at the current time in the current place. Maybe dozed off in the middle of it, maybe just went to sleep and brain went back to it as general overwatch and general care. And then there is a uncomfortable chill down the spine moment of, without even recognizing it, you know the feeling of those eyes on your back. You know who is looking at you. And you are certain for the moment that this has to be a dream. He's back in the aisle. There is a sudden kick in of your brain of, this is a dream. He's on the aisle. He can't be here. He is. I already beat him once.
Just a moment of, this is a dream of, okay, we're here again.
To the point of, like, just in dream logic, you just shift to turn and look. And your father is sitting across the camp, staring into the campfire, still completely, like, blood-drained face, covered in the wounds that you had given him, with the sword still stuck in his throat. Just giving you a very hollow stare across the fire, hands clasped together across his lap.
What is it this time?
What do you want out of this?
At that question, there is just a moment of Obsidian just sort of like it almost looks like Obsidian is about to answer, just very quick, very thorough as he usually does, and then just sort of stops, looks down, looks to the side. I don't know anymore. You know, I did nothing but follow what other people told me to do for 40 years of my life. And then was thrusted into freedom, into not having any direction. Stumbled upon a boat and just went, I don't know. What if I did mercantile shit and decided to try and give some other people that made mistakes in their lives a second chance? And then a couple of dumbasses approached me and went, well, here's a way to fix the world again. Here's a reason for you being here anymore. And I guess I just wanted someplace to be. I don't know. I don't know anymore. It's all gotten so heavy. I don't know anything about what is happening half the time. I just get told what face I need to punch in.
I raised you to take orders, and that's what you did. Well, you stopped. And that's when it got complicated, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is the crux of it, isn't it? You know, all things aside, I still don't regret that to this day.
There is a long avoiding of eye contact as the eyes drift away from the dream figure into the fire, then back to yours. I know you don't.
I'm seeing sort of stares at the fire for a bit as well, and then looks at his father. You've never been religious. If you were ever religious, I would have known anything about religion. I would have known anything about big fire dragon. Why? You got a letter about outcasts. And you knew I was never going to set foot on the island. And that I wouldn't be a threat to you. Why did you act on that letter in any regard?
Every second that you were out there alive, proving me wrong, was like feeling a broken shard of glass in my stomach.
It was just pride? Or were you jealous that I got away from the worst of it?
There's a sincere look of consideration at that of I hadn't thought about that. It is the look of I felt pain and lashed out and I didn't examine the pain. Both. Neither. All I knew was I had the chance. I saw red.
Going back to your earlier question, I guess the reason that I'm doing what I am right now, even though I have people that need me somewhere else, is because I know that if I'm not doing what I'm doing, somebody's gonna fuck everything up. Somebody's gonna try and do something that's just gonna destroy this little part of the world that I consider maybe not mine, but I consider I'm a part of. Maybe the 100 kingdoms out here just get completely annihilated, and that eventually falls into Grey Falls, or it takes Grey Falls with them, and then that's that. And maybe I just don't want to see something that I've spent years of my life building up just falling apart again. Maybe it's just me trying to be proactive for once and not waiting for an order.
In every bit, in every drop of blood, you are my son. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. Same. And there's probably just like this scene probably still goes on for like another 5 minutes of them just sort of wordlessly staring.
There is one last statement hanging off of that one of just... The happiest day in my life was when I had a son. The saddest one in my life was when I realized that my son was going to face the same pains that I did.
It's a maybe not the same sort of thought, but it is a disturbing thought that I have a lot of the time, that the new family I have, and when he says this, he is distinctly not referring to the Hearth. He is talking about his crew, that I will outlive all of them. There's no, well, if I'm good about it, we'll be together for a long time. It is, no, time will catch up. But I suppose that's why I always try and live in the moment and don't think too far ahead.
And that's where you're different. And you get the feeling that he's responding not just to that last sentence, but that whole bit of that's the gulf between the two of you. And if nothing else, in this dream's shade, visitation can admit that. And that is the scheme. That is the scene. Yeah.
Whew.
Alright, so Milan would be next, I believe?
Mess me up, Chief. All right.
Alright, so again, What does Milan usually dream, and how much do they usually remember?
Milan dreams of places, and there's never a continuity of where he is. He will be walking down the streets of the Isles, then he'll turn a corner and he'll be in Grey Falls and think, "Nah, this makes sense." And he only really remembers the feelings of it, but there are times where he'll distinctly remember something.
So there is the sensation of wandering down the city and deliberately getting lost. The whole joy of wandering to see where you go. And as the dream progresses, the idea of the city starts to get more and more vague as Grey Falls starts to blend into the Jade Orchid Prefectures, blends into the Blessed Isle, blends into Grey Falls, blends into Fallen River Valley. It's a giant rippling jumble. And you look up and you realize that not only do you not know where you are, you do think you know where you're going. But you don't remember how you got here. And there is the distinct sensation of if I wanted to leave, how would I leave? Everything is the city, everything is the roads. No matter where I go, I just find more of it. There is a distant bark down one of the side alleys as you hear this, and you recognize that as your grandmother's familiar, one of her great wolf familiars, the sound of the barking down the way.
At this, Milan is going to subconsciously start walking, and then it's going to slowly move into a run.
So, as you run, the buildings and the cityscape begin to blur all around you, and to a undistinguishable mass of construction. And the barking grows louder and more intense and more alarmed, until somehow you turn a corner, and you're back on the dock that you saw in the manse. And you see the dog standing between your grandmother in that golden armor from the vision in the manse, holding her bow drawn towards Menemen at the head of an army, with Vanif only having scattered members of her family around her, several dead on the ground or bleeding out, and her bow arm is trembling.
There is a voiceless scream of no, but nothing comes out of Milan's mouth.
Surrender, Menemen says, and the rest of you will live. You can live out your days in exile, and I will bother you no more. Milan sees through Vanif's eyes as they cast down to the bodies on the ground, looking back up at her sister, seeing the genuine sincerity in the words, and being more enraged at the very thought of being able to say that after the deaths of her family, of her direct family, her children, her cousins, her grandchildren, her nieces, her nephews, the adopted family. And what, you expect her to just stop? You expect her to just let them go? And before you can even scream out a warning, you feel her bowstring hand let go of the arrow. And before the arrow has even cleared the bow, she is full of arrow shots and bolts and spellfire.
Milan drops to his knees. He couldn't do it. He couldn't stop it. But now what?
Time is frozen as she is falling. The world has stopped. The war has ended for Venif. What if there isn't any way out? What if there isn't a way out this time? What if there's just the least worst option?
Milan stands up, walks forward, and grabs the bow. Knocks an arrow. Turns around and aims it. Not at Nemen, at someone else. Someone whose face he's only seen once before in person, but someone he knows. His great-grandmother.
Sitting on her throne.
And he lets go of the arrow.
Milan bolts awake with a scream. Alright, down to Angler and Repose.
I believe since Repose is going last, that means it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This one does have its own little section.
Now I'm worried.
Angler, regardless of how Angler usually dreams, regardless of memory, goes from just kind of the entering dream state to absolute darkness. There is the sensation of nothing. And not in the sense of the consumptive hunger of oblivion. Because you've been there, you've seen that, you've felt that, you've heard it. This is absence. This is... something's not here. And there's the briefest moment where you don't feel your body, you don't have a sense of sight, and you have no sense of anything. All you have to know that you exist in this field of nothing is your thought, is this consideration of I'm here. I am, and then where am I? And what is this? And as your mind feels out, like, where is my body? Where are my hands? Where is anything? You begin to feel those sensations flowing outward into your body. That you now know that you have. There it is, there it was. And as your sensations begin to come back, as you are forcing yourself to pull yourself together in your subconception of self, in whatever this is, you start to feel responses from around. At first, they're vague emotional vibration. Confusion? Like bewilderment? Irritation? Then, as your hearing comes back, you start to hear it as voices, a convocation of voices of all ages and all pitches and all tones, in a language that you... Okay, out of character, do you speak Old Realm? Did you ever get around with that?
Yeah, he does, because that was one of the things he picked up.
Okay. You understand it as some form of Old Realm, of a dialect so thick and detached from the versions that you know that it is almost incomprehensible, but you can get the tiniest snippets of just what? Or intrusion? Huh? And as you are opening your eyes and forcing there to be sight and things to see, you see a sensation of now you are not in nothingness, now you are in a dark place. You are standing on something. You are somewhere. You see just enough in the dark to see shapes. Shapes? People? People? Different shapes coalescing around each other as you are looking at them longer, just kind of collapsing them into different silhouettes as the chattering grows louder and more alarmed. And as your voice comes back and you open your mouth to say something, there is a call out from the figures on the edges of your perception, suddenly in a much more clear version of Old Realm towards you. How the hell? It's not a voice you recognize, but it feels like you should.
In Old Realm, could you tell me where I am, please? I seem to be very lost.
Are you new? Is somebody playing a joke on us? Is someone mantling that face? Is somebody wearing that? I told you not to have a new one wear any of those. Those are off limits.
Not wearing
There
any
is
face
another-
but my own.
There is another eruption among of the voices and figures talking to each other as the ground beneath you kind of undulates as though it were rolling under your feet.
I'm going to walk towards them. Or move towards them, whatever I might be able to do.
There is a sensation of the further you walk, the further they draw back and away. Like, space doesn't have meaning here. This is not a place. This is relative. Oh, no, closer, no closer, no closer. All right, hold on. Time out. What's your name?
Angler, spanning all seas.
Oh my fucking god, okay.
No, that's
There's
not
a-
quite right. I'm sorry. My name is Sasha.
There is a turn around and a discussion. Very good one, Rusher. There's a turnaround and a discussion again, and roll me fortitude awareness to try to pick something out of the chatter.
I'm going to use a mote for this to... Is it double my fortitude or double my awareness?
It doubles your fortitude. Awareness.
Awareness. Okay, so that would be 14 then. 11.
You don't quite get exactly what is being said, but even if you don't understand the language, the tone of voice and a certain series of words very suddenly gets the gist of what is being asked across is something, 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 did Sybil something, something, something.
I would snap to look at the beings that are saying that. Did you just say Sybil?
Okay, who taught the thing how to speak?
Or should I talk to her other?
Where do you think you are, dumbass?
I don't want to know, because I think that if I learn, I'll stop existing.
Look, alright, just no sudden moves. No sudden moves. Just handle
What do you
this.
think you are, dumbass?
He's not saying anything. Nope. Nope.
There is a figure that comes out of the dark, and I don't have a token for them, but they have just slicked back, greased hair, and just the look of every kind of used car salesman, but kind of transported into the aesthetics of the setting, sort of thing. And as he opens his mouth to talk, you see that his tongue is made of solid silver.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, what did you do to get here? Because I know you have a hunch. You had to have done something.
Before answering, he just thinks idly of a couple extra just floating eyes appearing behind him. And does that happen?
Floating eyes, you say? Just give me one moment.
Perhaps attached to birds.
Floating eyes, you say?
Yep.
The darkness is now eyes.
Uh-huh.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of eyes staring at you.
Well, I meant to make only 1,000. But I think I went a little overboard.
You just had to wake the core up, didn't you? Really had to go and fucking poke the shark. Well, you're not being torn to pieces, so I guess he's not mad? I don't think he's mad. This doesn't seem like a mad situation. It seems like a confused situation until he starts coming down and talking. If he does.
Oh. And the angler just kind of pauses, and his thoughts will drift to the moon. I think I know what I did.
What did you do? This is very important, because you
Yeah.
might not get out of here unless we know.
I asked for help.
Please don't tell me you asked them for help.
I asked her to watch one of her own.
There is a just leaning back into it facepalm from the figure you're speaking to as several other figures begin to come in from the fringes. One is what looks like a Rhyton, but without the spark of full intelligence behind it. This is just a bird is on the fringes, as well as a young woman, several other incredibly an entire array of faces that have been incorporated into this being, this mass, this system, and all around you is the eyes what you've been speaking with? Is that what's been under the surface the whole time? Have you been speaking to one of the masks this whole time? How does this work? As the kind of the silver-tongued, grease-haired figure is just rubbing his face. Okay, so good news is that you have probably good odds of getting out of here when you wake up. Bad news is that, we gotta explain this to the rest of ourselves. Just kind of open hands, palms up, just kind of a weary shrug. Yeah, so this is us. This is who he's been speaking with. This is all of us. And there's just more and more people and faces appearing in the darkness across, down, silhouetted by the eyes. We're a little more complicated than you might have thought.
So I've gathered.
Man, this was not what we were expecting today. We were expecting to have a nice, pleasant night where we could be talking to ourselves, and then all of a sudden the concept of language comes back, and we have to discuss among ourselves what the fuck is happening, and all of a sudden we have bodies now, and we're being observed, and we've got shapes, and we're not in communion, and God! Just looks up, just gestures to where the moon would be in the night sky, and just thanks! Into the sky before looking back to you.
Whatever her
Okay,
reasons,
so-
whatever her reasons, maybe this is something that we can work with, because I know a bear that could use some help, and maybe one of you can help him.
Of course, of course, of course, of course, of course. No wonder she got her attention on you. No wonder that he looked down at his old sad sack of a son and looked back over at us and heard what you said and decided that this would be the funniest way of it. Look, alright. Let's make this proper. Hello, my name is Adri Silvertone. I'm one of the people who fronts when the usual front man is a little tired. You haven't met me yet, but I've seen enough of you to get an impression. Just extends a hand to shake.
Hello. I've already said my name, but again, just call me Angler.
I'd make the introductions to the rest of us, but then you'd be here quite a long time. So for now, just take my word on it.
Does time move normally here?
Just shrug. Look, I don't know what it's like to have time flow, except when I'm in the driver's seat, and I don't like doing that unless I have to, okay? So, moving on. That, he says, pointing up to the eyes that are still locked on you. That is what rode with the shard. That is original. There is a pause, but visibly, was about to say a name and then shut his mouth. Just consider that the original. That's the first one.
Okay.
Just walking through and past the faces. Original's not the only one. Original had a bad time back in the day. Original decided that the idea of going back and seeing what consequences were going to be like in the cycle of reincarnation after a couple of things he did didn't sound like a great time. Decided to hitch a ride back on the shard. Usually you can't do that, but he was at a state where he was able to start cheating like that. It's one of the perks of being aligned with the power of Luna. Is that you start to get bent in the rules, because the rules is defined by what she can bend, what she can break, and what she can't. That's the whole kind of thing. Anyway, so original here starts taking a ride on the shard, and the shard starts running away. And the shard looks at the idea of taking another body, and Original looks at the idea of living another life. And with respect to Original's privacy, because that's their realm to talk about, not mine, I'm a different person, they decided that wasn't so fun. That wasn't a good idea. That wasn't something they wanted. So rather than go in the whole empower a champion thing and go back in the cycles of, empowering people and living new lives and having the shard get wiped clean and having the original be obliterated and or shunted off into the cycle, or however it works, we never even figured that out. Apparently, original tried to figure that back out way back in the day when that started getting made and never really got a good answer out of it. But was intent enough on that not happening and maintaining continuity itself, but also not being in a position to be looked at, touched, interacted with, have bad things happen again. Just wanted to be gestures up to the swarm of eyes in the sky. Bang. Unfortunately, that only lasted so long, and slammed directly into some poor bastard
I think he's taking a nap right now. Usually is. And overloaded his brain. And the way that the host of the shard interacted with the onflux of the original coming in was sharing the load, let's call it. Diversifying, having many hands make light work, like lifting great heavy weights. Apply that logic, that kind of thing. But not all of them came from him. A lot of us came from the original as well, and stuff the original did in the original body and new body and other things like that. But just kind of looks back with a kind of slightly exhausted, desperate look of like, look, a lot of us have explained this maybe 2 or 3 times in our entire existence. Am I making any sense to you at all?
I'm going to have to think on this later, but I'm getting the gist of it, sure.
Feel free to tell me to slow down and explain something if you need anything. Like, honestly speaking, it's been so long since I've talked to something that wasn't on the other side of the... You know what? It's been long enough that I've had to use language directly to somebody else in this space and not what we usually use, that it's kind of refreshing. It's kind of making me readjust a couple of things, maybe approach a couple of things a different way. Anyway, so, long story short.
One question, though, before you continue. Is there a way I can turn these off? Because it is a little off-putting.
The eyes? Oh no, that's Original's watching. You woke him up.
Ah. So if I thought about, like, a nice grassy hill, that we wouldn't be transported there, correct?
No. You are not in control here.
I didn't think so, but I was hoping.
That is kind of why I was trying to be careful before they woke up, because if they woke up in a cranky mood, you wouldn't be shapes anymore.
That's okay. Sometimes things change. You just kind of have to roll with it. But please, I interrupted you. Continue.
So, the gist of it again, that's the details. You can talk to the original whenever they feel like opening their mouth. Feel like you talked to him a couple of times by now. You talked to the usual fronts several times. Talked to him maybe once or twice. Don't think you've ever spoken to the host. I think he's usually napping whenever you guys show up. But long story short is one thing that I think would be fair to tell you all as something that is important to know. The original and there's an actual just kind of trailing off as he's trying to say Sybil's name.
Would you like me to say it for you?
Just twirl of the hand, a nod.
Sybil?
Yeah, her.
I would also call her Sunshine, but I don't know what effect that would have. Too late.
There's actually several of the altars start laughing in the background. She'd find that funny. But there is a degree of respect around her in here, and other emotions, and it's complicated. But there's a lot of siloing going on, you understand. Business sense. Just here, there, everywhere. But long story short, Original up there's got a mission. Original up there would have been happy to stay a shard for the rest of their existence, bouncing around, just being unbodied, just taking things in, until eventually. I can't really think that he would really outrun Luna that long. So I guess Luna was just letting him do that until they felt like it was time to kind of grab him by the scruff. Maybe he was that good, and maybe it took that long, or maybe she was distracted, or maybe he was just kind of deciding that waiting for the best possible moment, or maybe there's some future sight thing that I don't know about. Like, look, we're not in a position to ask our boss any questions, let alone you. But reason that boss got slam dunked into a body, and part of why the host got a little scramble-brained by it, was Luna showed up directly. And I don't know if you know this about us, but that happens. That happens to all of us. We all get a personal talk with the boss. the context of that and whether we know it or not, that varies. That's from person to person. It's an intensely personal thing. Often it's very uplifting and affirming, according to some people, but for Boss, it was a little less so. It was much more of a, you get back down there, and you do your job, and if you try cheating and escaping again, I know worse things than going back into the cycle of reincarnation. There is just a kind of helpless shrug from Adri at that, and then a clap of the hands together of just like, so if you've ever seemed terse or really observant or really kind of everywhere about trying to make sure stuff goes the way that he feels like he wants it to go, yeah, that would be right. He can't chill, like categorically. Is under orders to not chill. There is a kind of tilt of the head backwards, and a something that is akin to language, but now it is not in Old Realm. That is like the just kind of verbalization among each other. Oh right, you're the one that he looked at and just saw the same sort of thing in the eyes. Yeah, you might understand a little bit of that.
Yeah, Angler holds up his hands that are ever so slightly shaking. Yes, I know something of that.
Oh, right. You're the one the weirdo made the gauntlets for, right? Yeah, right. No wonder that they've been keeping an eye on you. You've been up to some real weird shit. The Figment just kind of looks up and inspects the gauntlets a little bit, kind of inspecting their own reflection in the mirror. And you notice in the reflection that their eyes have Guan's tell of the silver bruised eyes. Now, just looking around. Adri kind of looks around again and looks back at you. Now, we're small enough scope right now that the boss might be a little more fuzzy on the details of what's being discussed right now. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a one-to-one on a bit of advice on how to deal with the rest of us and him if he ever shows up. Again, these days he's actually spending a lot more time in the driver's seat, so you might directly be speaking with him. Don't push him too far, but if he seems stuck, give him a nudge.
So a happy medium.
That's what Sybil usually does, that's why they're kind of, aside from the whole old Bond thing, they're kind of, hey, I'm part of this whole system, and I can disagree, and I can be saying that both of them are kind of disasters, but they're the kind that kind of prop against each other, and if one wasn't there, the other one would fall the hell over. But they've managed to lean against each other in something that's approximating some form of stability.
She gets
So long
him
as they're
the
there
nudge
to
when he
police
needs
each-
it, and he gives her a hand on the shoulder when she needs it. I get it.
One thing that I will definitely warn you about, because I think they're going to be a little cagey about this until confronted about it a little more directly. So about that demon thing, about that thing with the letters, kind of leaning in conspiratorially.
Go on.
Alright, so there is a pause again, there's kind of a turn back to listen, and then turning back. Alright, this is probably going to piss off at least one of your opponents, so either play this close to your chest, or tell them or in a safe way, or, be willing to say it, then stand back 10 feet or something. I don't know, you know them better than I do. Or some of the faces might know them better than me, but... So you know what Malpheus is,
Yes.
right?
I do. Continue.
Sybil has the ability, under certain circumstances, to find gateways between creation and Malpheus and go there. She does this, primarily, for the purposes of making sure they ain't up to shit, and, frankly, I'll admit that she sometimes went there to get crafting advice from a couple of people But what are you gonna do? We've given up on that one a long time ago. But the thing here is that her contacts kind of paid off in that she went back to her usual haunts and did a couple of shakedowns and did a couple of you owe me's and IOUs. And sounds kind of like that. So you know how all the shards of the sun are back, right? Like the moon, we were all here all along, and sun went somewhere, and we don't know where, but now they're back.
Yes, but some of the shards have fallen, right?
Yeah, you already met that some of them happened to go down into the underworld and get grabbed by the ghosts and turned into evil.
I met an idiot,
versions.
so yes.
Yeah. Apparently a couple of them fell in hell, too.
Okay.
So now we got that problem, except flavored like the Yosi.
Okay.
So if you remember, like, there's a pause and a think. Right, yeah, okay. Now, they're telling me that you told him, and you told her, that you met a demon, that you were asking what was going on, and all of a sudden it just shut up, and it couldn't tell you anything? Like, it just couldn't? And, like, that's the Theodosia, if you remember.
Yeah, that one the thing that had all of the demon that could jump between the different bodies and such, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently that's just a privilege that they have, is that this whole plan they've been working on for I don't know how long has been top secret, and they had bound all of the lesser emanations of the trapped Yosi to not snitch. And apparently one of them got out recently, one or more. We at least know of the one locally, and the original is trying to pivot into finding them and feeding them their own teeth, so it's civil on the matter. But turns out they're real fucking hard to find. Turns out we're chasing after one that is quite good at covering their tracks.
And you want us to find it?
There's a pause and a sudden just kind of murmuring cacophony across the crowd. Shut up, hang on, I can give... Let me say it, alright? Can't even understand half of you, goddamn. So that's the split, is that in terms of safety and in terms of what should be responded, we feel responsible for handling this. In terms of, like, we don't know what this thing can even do. All we know is that it has that kind of power, and then the Fire of Hell got a hand on it, and now who knows what they're even doing. But other problem is, we're known factors to a larger degree than you are. Like, you've been making a really big name for yourself in the past year, don't make a mistake about that. But, you haven't been around for a couple of centuries and had your names and elbows rubbed around in hell a couple of times. We are not exactly... Well, the boss and the rest of us, most of us, are subtle. Our dear, sweet partner is... If there is a word that is the direct opposite of subtle in every possible interpretation of the word, that's her. This thing, this person, this whatever, probably can smell her coming from a creational direction away. So, we've been trying to carefully move, but every time we do, we feel like it is just playing, like, catch-up on a game of Gateway. Like, you can't catch the piece because it keeps hopping away at the same pace. So, it may be irresponsible of us, but we may need your help for a pincer action on it to pin him in place while we both get it.
At this point, Angler actually he's pinching the bridge of his nose, and his eyes are closed for whatever that does here. And he's just kind of slowly rotating, and just kind of lets himself rotate all the way around, and comes back. Let me get this straight. since the two of you are, let's say, the title holders or belt holders in a certain sport, perhaps, you need a bunch of the upstarts who are starting to make a name for themselves to take care of a heel that you can't find.
I mean, if you want to put it in that metaphor, sure. Hey, there's just this communication of just the general vibe of, the fuck does that mean? Did that check out to the rest of you? Some of the voices chatter back. Okay, yeah, sure, that's close enough.
One of the voices is extremely into wrestling.
Just like, yeah! Sports! You distinctly hear the old realm for sports in the crowd.
You know,
Brother.
every so often, I'm just going to poke to see, does he actually like sports? Let's poke to see if that's okay. No, all right, never mind. Moving on.
There's
All
at least a bit of him that does.
I'm going to invite him to a match as soon as I schedule one. Moving on. All right. Where, roughly, is this thing?
That's the problem, is that every time we narrow down the city, we find the traces that he had just been. So he's just been kind of running in a circuit around trying to set up places, and by the time we catch up on his heels, he smelled us coming and bolted. If I had to wager a guess from the pattern, not from the tracking yet, but from the pattern, because we've not tried to scare him yet, maybe Grey Falls.
And that just gives us a small sharpening to Angler's eyes. All right. All right, we had business there anyway. And he just kind of, almost as it wipes his face, and as he does, he just kind of pushes that fatigue to the back of his mind. All right. You gave us an angle. We owe you. All of you. I'll see what I can do.
Look, sorry on the short notice handling of all of the rest of us. This is not something that we like to make public knowledge because it doesn't go well with most people. The whole talking to ourselves thing. You might catch us once or twice. No, wait. Turns head, listens. You did catch us once, talking across a couple of bodies, and then snapped back together. Yeah, that's what was going on. Is that, sometimes it's easier, rather than trying to shout over each other in here, to, like, just pluck us out and put us in a body, and then put us in the meat world, where the meat rules apply, and then have them talk like that. So if
No,
you
I
ever
understand.
just catch us talking to ourselves, either in one body or across several of them, however they look, yeah, that's why.
Just because it's been an honor talking to you, how will I know which one is you? The tongue?
I think you'll get the. Either I'll introduce myself, or you'll get the mannerisms. Or God, that's weird. I haven't. Look, the only person who really knows a lot about this is Sybil. Sybil's like the only one who knows even half of us. There's a couple of us who don't like being seen by anybody, not even her. And like the bear has an idea about this. Hasn't met most of us. Has a general understanding of what this is going on, but that's about it. Her, one, that would be all that you know, is who would know.
That's fine. Last thing, because I feel probably the time here is short. The original can hear me right now, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. And Angler just looks up-ish. She sent me here for a reason. It's time you go talk to the bear.
The eyes all just have their pupils dilate a little bit, and then constrict, and just kind of asynchronously across the sky give a couple of blinks of just. There's a feeling of acknowledgement before Adri looks back up, looks down. Yeah, I think that's a yes. I think that's a yes. He doesn't really come down and like. So usually, sometimes he'll come down not like that. He'll come down more in a shape like this, but usually really hates being seen like that. Like really likes to avoid any sort of being embodied and seen, observed.
I understand, but we helped him back from the brink, but we can't be there. You can. I don't know everything that happened, and frankly, that's your personal business, but
Now,
I think it's
hold
time
on.
to mend some fences.
There is kind of a like the eyes actually kind of dilate again, and there's another time. Helped him back from the brink. How? Like, what did you actually end up doing?
We helped him remember why he's here, why he can't give up. And he and I had a little conversation. Just a bit, and we heard a little bit more. I heard a little bit more about Thousand Eyes.
There is a voice from directly behind Angler, like leaning over their shoulder, like to the point of the whisper of air across the ear being felt. It's more than I could have asked for. And that's the voice of Guan, as you know it.
Yeah, I will intentionally not look at that. Don't thank me. Thank Yang. Yang started it. The rest of us helped, but Yang was the impetus.
Why am I not surprised? Oh, man.
Think of it this way: if two train wrecks are going one direction, it's not surprising that they pick up a third.
You know,
He's your
Sybil
son,
had
after
been
all.
joking about calling him her adopted son, and at this point I feel like that's more true than not. Not to intrude on your hearth, of course.
That's all right. I suppose that's all right.
Of all the things that I expected to happen this year, it would not be that I would find a dragon blood that has the same mentality as my wife.
Finding a lot of people out here that think like us. It's good to see. It's good to see that we fuck ups have some fuck ups we can look up to.
Do not aspire to my life, trust me, that's a mistake.
Angler pauses for a second and just has a look of nope, mentally write that one out, and then just blurts out, I want to be like you, but a less. Nope.
Oh no, you're finishing that sentence.
Angler's looking for the eject button out of the drone.
No, it's not the eject button. He's just. No, I'm not even going to say the other part because I wanted to say a more successful, but that's not true because I see what you have with Sybil, and I'm so jealous of it.
Either you haven't seen the whole thing, or you're as fucked up as the both of us. Either way.
I don't know if he can, out of character. I don't know if he can read Angler's emotions, but I saw just
Perfectly.
enough. Yeah, and then just kind of the thought process, the thinking of, I saw enough when you and I had a chat before, and she was there.
One day you all deserve the whole story. Not right now. You've been having enough. Thanks to the boss, but maybe when this is all over, maybe when we have a quiet time, I'll sit you down and explain this all. Somebody else needs to hear it outside of her.
I'd like that very much, and I think you would too. Whether
Might
you
take a
admit it
little
or
bit of the
not.
weight off. And with that, the eyes begin to all close, and you are left back in the dark, and you drift back off to sleep the way you would have slept normally.
As I'm in the dark alone, if I feel like I'm pulling away from his consciousness, can I try one last thing?
Yeah, sure.
He's gonna look up to wherever Moon is.
You can see a cutout in the darkness full of eyes, exactly the size and shape of where the new moon.
And just look at it, the moon, and just say, next time. A little bit more subtle. I don't like feeling like a brick thrown through a window.
You get the distinct feeling that somewhere, Luna is laughing at you.
I'll take it. That's
Well,
it.
And now you understand why I was thinking that was going to be the last scene of the dream sequences. But
I have
No,
a
no,
feeling
no,
what's
no.
coming, and I want to see it.
follow
You know,
up there. All right.
at some point, this whole story is just Luna sharing our story to the sun,
yeah,
and just
sitting,
cackling the whole time.
just sitting on the silver chair with a bucket of popcorn, going, "Yo, honey, you need to see this shit, though."
Look what's happening over there.
Oh, look at them. They think they can poke me without consequences.
Someone sent me mail directly, like just to my name.
Someone gave them my mailing address and they took me up on it.
Honey, look
Oh.
at this. He turned himself into a god. Funniest shit I've ever seen.
Now, to be fair, it isn't that I just directly mailed something to her. It's that I got it, got the mail back, which was a brick, and then looked at that and went, I'm gonna do it again, and just did it again.
I'll fucking do it again.
Just
Anyway,
the message back that just says, no you, and then that's it.
Yeah, just adjust down for next scene. This is going to be more monologue narrative for a little bit, because this is going to be for Repose. This is going to be Repose seeing a scene in his brain without Repose the person being present, if that makes sense.
all right.
Now, you will have input at some point, but it is more, third person dreaming. So, what you see is a stone cave lit by torchlight. And you recognize it as a rough amalgamation of several temple chambers and underworld chambers from the Vigil. And sitting in the center is... There's a bit of a storm outside as a warning if I explode again.
Yeah, it's been going around.
Sitting in the center, kneeling down on a meditative pillow, closing her eyes, is Azar. And in the room is 4 pillars in each of the directions away from the center where she's kneeling and meditating. And there is this sense of uncomfortable peace. Not a peace that's good, not a peace that's serene, a peace that is what is underneath this. This is still waters hiding a riptide kind of a feeling.
It is not peaceful, it is quiet.
Yes. For you see Azar opening her eyes, exhaling out her nose, and glaring out into the room, seeing the shadows cast by the torchlights and by the pillars and by the rest of the room's just kind of decorations. She breathes in, she stares at the shadows, exhales out, beginning to shimmer with heat, inhales and exhales as her skin begins to crack slightly as flames lick out from the porcelain skin and the light begins to shine out from her, intensifying an increasingly searing, bright, painful light to look at casting away the shadows, but those shadows that remain and are not banished by the sheer intensity of the light grow darker and darker and darker. And she watches those shadows grow darker, and her lip curls into a snarl as she breathes in, now with more tension in the way, and exhales out quicker and more intensely as the fire completely lights. And she stands and picks up the guandao from the ground next to her, strikes down a torch sconce. Another, and another. Stomps the debris. Smashes anything that would be blocking the light and casting the shadow. And yet, where she stands, the pillars still cast the shadow. She raises the guandao and just lets out not even a scream, just a barely audible snarling grunt is the only audible release of tension that she gets as she swings and smashes a pillar into pieces and begins to smash it with the guandao and her feet into dust, into rubble, into nothingness, to banish the shadow, to remove the obstacle, to brighten the light, to shine the searing, blinding light into every corner, but the other pillars still block the light. They still cast the shadow. So she lashes out again and again and again and smashes every pillar in the center of the room, ruining the stone, casting down the decorations, ripping apart everything that would be casting the shadows, that would be making the darkness intensify, and just ripping everything apart, has dropped the guandao, has gone to her bare hands, and is tearing into wall decorations, into records of the sect, into statuary, into vases, is casting them down, is smashing them, is finding anywhere that would have a shadow hiding, and is glowing, and is burning more intensely, and is destroying anything in the way that would possibly give a shadow a single place to hide and deepen. And after her rampage, as she is standing in the center of the room, fully aflame, snarling, breathing in heavily back and forth, the entire room is completely lit and without shadow, except above her, where she's burning. The flames have scorched the ceiling black, and they twist like the shadows had been behind the pillars. She looks up. Her eyes widen as she sees the darkness. And rather than respond to it any other way, she just lets out another guttural sound as the flames intensify, trying to liquefy the burned stone, and the ceiling collapses on top of her.
Yes. Are we out of cutscene?
That is the end of the scene, unless narrator Repose wants to say something.
Narrator Repose. It's going to become active repose.
Alright.
Something is broken. Something has fallen down. And it is the first thing that enters Repose's mind that he fixes. Starts moving away rocks. Although, then, after like some amount of starting to do this, after he's maybe begun to realize a presence in this image and kind of gotten himself into the space, he's going to stop a moment, quickly issue a couple of like counts at incantations and give like a bit of a nervous flick of his fingers that sends like sparks flying off of them. I could. All right, so then like takes just a very tiny like shaving scratch at his own face, draws a tiny spot of blood, gives it a taste. Repose is going to attempt to become entirely lucid in this dream.
All right. Roll.
Would you like?
What would that be?
It sounds like it would
Fortitude,
be
integrity. I would
yeah,
say.
fortitude, integrity, and I will throw the.
And I'll give you a
excellency.
stunt on that. Which the way stunts work now, they don't have grades. They are always 2 dice, and you can either apply them to the roll, bank them for later, give them to someone else's roll, or trade them in for a narrative edit. That's the simplified version.
Well, let me throw these on the table here. Yeah. All right, 8 of
Yeah,
establishing narrative control.
The difficulty
will-
was the difficulty. I should have said ahead of time was 7, and you succeeded.
All right, so I am now going to cash in those stunt dice for a narrative edit of Repose after, like, taking a moment to kind of align and be thinking about this consciously while still asleep. Kind of connect some of his options. Because as far as a step of this that we skipped over, so things Repose would normally dream about are just kind of spaces that he has found pleasant in the past to revisit. Usually quiet and isolated and just serene ones, but sometimes active, lively places. Sometimes he just remembers a nice day sitting on a street corner and watching a city happen around him. Things like that. And this is very not a place his mind normally goes, and he is going to be connecting the dots here if this is an atypical dream. Because another thing is these more pleasant dreams generally never involve Azar.
Yep.
So, 2 dice of narrative edit I'm going to assert here. Repose thinks to look aside and grab at some space that is just slightly out of view, and from that space, draw Chief.
Chief is... How to put this? Yeah, you have narrative control of the dream, so you would know. Chief is bereft by this happening. There is no resistance from Chief in this matter. This is just a limp hanging.
And just bring Chief close. Just for a brief moment. Bring him in. Give him a little, cat hug. Well, little brother, we have work to do. Then put Chief down and then start digging through the rubble. Looking to get to Azar if she is still present here.
In the dream, you are able to dig out the stone and find her crushed body. This is the dream ended in her self-annihilation. That was the end message of the dream. Because you are very certain now that you are lucid and literally sifting through the dream. This was a message. This was a dictated message.
Well, I suppose, as a symbolic gesture, finish fishing her out of the rubble. You just set her out in the open. Lay her down. Clean her off. And then, from some of that debris, build the beginnings of a fire and just light that off of her body and leave it there at her side.
All right. Anything else that you would want to go through with? Because you have control of the dream at this point.
Just as a thought, just as a check and be sure, because this feels like, yeah, this is a message that has arrived externally, but thinking about it. Before letting himself wake up, just whisper something in her ear. No need to come up with specific dialogue for it, but just something that would resonate, something they would both recognize from the life that they have shared together.
Okay.
Just to put it in mind.
Alright.
And then see.
Alright, so
Allow
Not all-
Chief to hear what has been said. Leave Chief on body. You're warm.
Chief actually very possessively lies down atop Azar's body, and once settled and you have set it up, it gets back into that violent approach of like, I will slice you if you get any closer.
You're a good
Once the
cat.
visual has been set up. But yeah, the crew does not all wake up simultaneously, but wakes up roughly within the same half hour, 20-minute stretch. So, you know, everybody who is waking up can wake up and interact with what you have been dreaming or hearing other people bolt awake or etc.
Milan's tent is just furiously vibrating and flapping from the internal wind of his anima going wild.
Propose has
Stalwart
set up
daughter-
a chalkboard, preemptively divided into sections for each member of the crew, and already volunteered bullet point subject of what he saw.
God. You actually see, the first person to look over at Milan's tent sees the back half of Stalwart Daughter coming out of the front of the tent as the front half is checking in very concernedly at Milan, just immediately just head on Milan's chest of like, hang on, are you alright? Am I here? I'm here, you're awake.
Yang's gonna walk out the tent and sort of like sleepily rub his eyes and walk out to Repose and go like, hey, I had an idea. I think something to do with our dream. Oh, you're already set up okay, right. Well, anyways.
And Yang, stick of chalk, carry on.
Yeah, alright,
One of
yeah.
the things.
A bit early for Scholar Dome, but do we make coffee?
A person in charge of coffee is having a moment.
Yeah,
Horse
like,
is helping.
Yang would glance over to Milan's tent and see the horse and the vibrations.
Horse has been slowly pulled further in.
Can you go check on him while I write?
Arrive at tent, just kind of prod side of horse.
Horse is going to let you in.
Slide into tent.
Milan has the look of abject rage and fury.
Suppose is just nodding quietly. Very neutral look. Bit of a go on hand gesture. Not saying anything, but just
Just heavy breathing of, I'm gonna burn it all down. All of it. Everything she has done to me. Someone's been messing with their dreams, haven't they?
yes.
I need a cup of coffee.
Yes, that's what Yang said.
Hugs the horse, regains composure.
If you prepare that while he is writing his experiences, then it would be ready for him to tranquil. You go and write your experiences with the benefit of, and Rose
they're
then
finished.
wanders off, continuing to mumble about scheduling. Let's go to visit next person.
Takes a moment, collects self, waxes mustache, and exits tent.
Stalwart daughter followed behind, basically inseparably until otherwise directed by Mulan. It's just like, no. I saw what you were like when you woke up. I'm here for you.
How's everyone else waking up?
Very long, slow, just look up at the sky, roughly at where the moon is, and nod, and he gets up and just goes about his day.
And that's getting a bit of a stop and a point at the board. Pushing with the stick toward the board.
Repose sees the look at the moon, grabs Angler by the collar, drags to the board.
Not yet. I need to think on this.
Oh, I realized I moved to unmute myself, and I don't think I muted myself.
Oh yeah, if you were talking, we didn't hear.
Whoops.
Sorry.
It's fine. Mostly jokes.
Lost to the ages.
You hate to see it happen.
Is it a sorcery to mess with dream magic, or is this like ghosts, or what do you reckon?
Second board is being set up with the standard list of suspects for dream problems, and some preemptive elimination is going on.
Oh, I've heard that Jingsha do the hoppy ghosts. I can probably do that. Write that on there.
Haunting is noted for thoroughness and preemptively removed. Nope, that's not haunting. Rep knows what haunting is.
Repose is intimately familiar with haunting dreams. That was no haunting dream.
Ghost dreams taste entirely different. Ghost dreams, there's more blood.
There was a lot of
Haunting,
blood in mine.
Wild, sorcery,
How would
divine
old man be waking
visions,
up in this spot?
subcategories under that.
Oh yeah, I guess I'm gonna actually do due diligence and check the burrito that I left old man in. Is he still there?
I can't believe Yang folded old man into a taco.
Doc, if you're
All
talking.
right.
Okay.
So as you are messing with the taco, this is when the shining starts to come from like the edges of the taco.
What the fuck is this? What?
Oh shit! It's the alchemical.
Hey, I think Grandpa's evolving.
All right, and then that's when old man wakes up like gasping for air, and then like just bursts out
As
of the blankets. And yeah, like I described earlier, he is now shining basically on all parts of his body, with visually as if, you know, it was gleaming metal, but on like a very hammered and rough surface. So it's very polished, dappled metal where, you know, the light is like reflecting all over the place and has a sort of the same effect as when you're in a cave and like there's light shining on the water down there and that light reflects on the surface of the cave.
Caustics.
Yeah, exactly. So he looks like that now. And he is breathing heavily from just waking up, having nearly suffocated himself in there. He looks up at Yang, feet on the ground and like an awful hunched position, and then claps both of his like hands on Yang's shoulders and leans on him.
Whoa, you're kind of heavy.
I'm me.
What? Yes, you are.
It powered me up.
What do you mean it power you? You still look like a drowned rat, like a really shiny. drowned rat,
The look
but-
on his face and the way that he's breathing, he looks worse than normal, aside from his shininess.
Like I don't know how to describe it. Like you looked bad, right? But you look like pretty, but you still look like it's still a rictus, you know?
Old man spits like to the side, not at you. He avoids doing it at you, but
That was nice,
like there's
I
little
guess.
flecks of like little dots of metal in there now.
Wait, is it
too.
all metal now, all the time in there?
I think
what-
so.
Like, look at him. He's just
Yeah.
turning to metal. If that's not alchemy, I don't know what
Like
it
you
is.
don't have to keep that on, right? You're just this now.
That's got to be what that is, right? I've read this in a book, like maybe once.
Still here? Hold
No,
on, yeah.
listen.
No,
Let me let me explain. It's pretty simple. I showed up and I'm in me, and now I'm more powerful and slightly divine.
It doesn't
Hey.
make any fucking.
Hey Yang, you didn't
Yeah.
use all of your chalkboard. Do you mind if I spill out of mine into yours?
Yeah, it's cool. Go ahead.
Continuously,
need to-
furiously chalking onto the board.
I need
so he's
to
broken
give you
through
a
then.
physical.
Sorry, describing as writing it on a chalkboard as chalking. Got me.
Who do you think you
Propose.
are? I am.
Proposes arriving at old man's occult success ramblings.
Mhm.
His triumphant wizard hoots.
Like something
And-
happened, and
Yeah, Repose kind of, stays to the edge of this and kind of closes in sidewise and comes in from one of from a reverse diagonal towards old man.
Christian side.
Is there, by the way, a like a large boulder around or something? Can I just know where
Yeah,
that
sure.
rock? Okay. Old man's actually going to immediately book it for that large boulder that he just happens to know exists around here, I guess. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of my things actually, because it's not really too much to do so. I'm gonna go and use my cruel banquet advantage. Hey,
No, that's not something you.
I get to ask after my essence and specific questions
Oh,
learned
no.
about specific
Okay, that's not
situation.
supposed to be named Cruel Banquet. That's supposed to be named Float Like Water.
Okay, fair enough. Flow like water, though.
All
right.
Cruel Banquet is an abyssal thing. That was from the original sheet. I'm sorry.
Oh
That's
no,
fine.
old
We
man
is
is
not a-
missile.
No, Dracula.
Old man is not actually on his ghetto right now. He is in fact
He's
not.
running
He's
on
currently
his feet.
still walking. He is too excited
Yeah.
to cast spells.
Yeah. Well, he's not too excited to cast spells. But he's too excited to cast one specific spell. And he doesn't care necessarily if anyone follows him, but I'm sure someone's going to, because
I mean,
he just furiously
running
ran
around-
out of it
Repose is
directly
following.
directly to a boulder he just happens to know exists in the location. Somehow, he just knows a lot about this kind of thing
I
now.
am furiously taking notes upon this and writing down anything that seems coherent, but I just do not understand at the time because this man will never explain himself.
And then he arrives at it, and then he's going to begin to gather motes. And while we do not have we've not figured out exactly how to transfer this yet. He's going to immediately cast his new and only celestial spell.
Yep.
Which is to say that, like, out of his hands generates a long javelin made of compressed, very cold, basically frozen salt water that has extremely high salt content in it. That sticks to his hands a little bit just because it's so cold. It even sticks to him, and he throws it at the at the boulder, which will super shatter it, like, in its position.
It's explosion.
Yeah, full ice explosion. Also, intense taste of salt all over the place. Just spreads everywhere.
Ah, ugh.
That is the celestial spell Thorn of Cold Rebuke, which is extremely powerful. That will leave behind a, like, kind of a small glacier for 4 days, I think, or 3 days, regardless of the temperature around here. Also, it is now actually uncomfortably cold around here.
Looking, nodding.
I
Milan
immediately
walks
had
over.
to try it out.
Sipping a bit of coffee, just nodding.
So, do you want a new name? Do you be like Mark II or?
No, it seems like you're ready to start cheating. Congratulations. Just give Old Man a bit of a slap, and then...
I still have no name. I'm just
That sounds like you.
who I am.
Oh, let's call him Older Man.
No. But I was told a name by the one inside me. I am now the... How would Old Man describe this? He's not going to immediately... Wouldn't say Exigent Exalts, because he wouldn't believe in that specifically anyway. That's what he would be, like, representing himself as.
I feel like he'd just say that he's done it.
I've done it. I've ascended.
You got it right the first time.
I
I'm me.
broke through. I broke through.
He is himself.
The Coil of Providence.
You still stretch?
Oh yeah, and it goes ahead and
damn it!
across the room.
No, I was.
If
wishing
anything,
that
the
went
stretching is actually more nimble, quick, and unnatural looking.
It's also probably blinding.
So do you in fact take the mug of coffee out of Milan's hand?
No,
Okay.
the mug of coffee is now ice cold. In fact, it is iced coffee now. It's
Still
also
drinking it.
slightly salty. It's probably not pleasant.
Still drinking it.
So, like,
Wait,
if you were to pick up a piece of metal and just hold it in your hands, could you change it into a different type of metal?
What? No. Why
Is
would
it
I be
cool
able
if
to do
I ask
that?
you for some ice?
Isn't that like a thing that you can do?
Actually, how long does this last?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna grab some chunks and we'll find out.
It's not going to taste good. I can tell you that.
Well, no, it's cold. It's cold as hell, though. You know how good it is for storage. You're just too. You're thinking about javelins right now, aren't you?
I want to do it again.
All right, no one's stopping you.
Now that does not sound like you.
I want to do a lot lot of things.
You want
That doesn't
things
sound like
now?
old man.
Now the group
Right.
is all just like, whoa, hang on.
Old
You
man
don't
wants
wanna
to
pay
do
by
things.
the hour.
Old man wants something.
Walks over, hands old man a mug.
What is this?
Inside is a single drop of morning dew.
Nah, old man's going to give it back. He doesn't need that. I did it! I proved my point. I was right.
So you're done then, huh?
Not quite.
What do you mean?
Step
what?
1 is done.
That was step 1. What's step 2?
Well, no, he's completed his first journey, and now he is circled back around again. Of course he wants things. He's been remade. He is,
Oh yeah.
as a child, in his new form.
Yeah, actually, you're the youngest person of the group now. Really, for being incredibly pedantic and shallow about it.
I hand old man a piece of jerky.
No, he's gonna push that back.
Hmm.
One of the things is that the old man actually explicitly no longer at any point needs to eat or drink or anything like that.
You do not require
Or sleep. Or
You can, yeah.
You
yeah,
don't need it. But what if you?
You can if you want. I will clarify that. If you
yeah,
want.
that's not changed yet. Or probably ever, honestly. When you gave that up ages ago, you're done. It's all regular different wants now.
Strange abstract wants.
You want to go play
Exactly. Yeah, sure.
Mahjong? All right.
All right, that's old man.
That's normal. The board, though.
Milan has already added another name to the names board that no one recognizes.
Is it Eric?
Oh yeah, can we get the?
No, it's a name that does not actually exist in official canon, but I don't know if her Scarlet Empress's actual name has ever been said, or if it's
No one knows it.
Yeah,
She is the Empress.
You would just have to write the Empress.
okay. It was a referral nickname Milan had for her.
As you sit down with old man to play mahjong, by the way, which he actually will sit down on the ground to do so, and like he doesn't even bring up a complaint about this. It's just normal to him now. He will actually start to kind of out of characterly as you know him, excitedly explain everything that he knows about what happened. Which will
Since when are
then
you
get
the sort
to
of scientist that explains things to your peers. What the fuck is this?
He's been
being
renewed.
inside me.
He broke
Which is also
through.
me.
He's a new thing now.
The being inside of me, which is also me. Called itself, which is weird and new and different.
So you killed
So see-
yourself, but instead of it just sort of going away, you ate it. You consumed the power of the self that you would normally have killed to change.
Choosing Coil of Providence.
That makes a amount of sense. Wait, are you going for Ian Panko?
Of course, it's old man.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll for this. By the way,
For
as
Mahjong?
normal, yeah.
Determine your dice pool for the metaphor of how you want to play. Yes.
Well, of course, it's going to be like kind of as always, it'd be finesse sagacity.
Yes.
As playing the occult style mahjong as normal, but
Playing Clown
also
Mahjong.
describing what he's doing as well to the other players here, and we'll give cryptic and annoying like statements about what he is on his way to do.
Oh, you piece of shit. Of course, this is the first time you're using that.
Yes.
All right. And yeah, you can go ahead and roll that with the stun die, or the 2 stun die.
7 successes, as is typical.
And anybody else who wants to contest that may roll with their pool that they decide they're doing.
I want to use a charm.
Okay, what charm?
Ambush sensing premonition.
How?
I am going to read the dead wall tile and see if the excited story is a ploy for some sort of bullshit. that he's about to do.
Not getting ambushed
Is that
sounds like
reading?
exactly the killer move to have in Mahjong.
Hold on.
Yeah,
hold
no,
on.
like,
Is that
I was
targeting
just
me
gonna-
technically? Darren, is that targeting me technically, considering that Sana is
Yes.
trying to... All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use Freedom of Will Rebuke, and I'm going to spend 2 motes to make sure that you can't do this. You can't overcome my result. You can't read me.
I don't
now.
know if that's how the interaction works. I need to double check. Hang on.
If you are trying to influence or psych me in some way, I will force it to automatically fail.
That it's okay. Ambushing, sensing, premonition is not a psych effect.
That's fair, but I just wanted to bring up being able to use this in the first place.
This negates any non-magical bonuses the attacker may have from a surprise attack. Is the mechanics. So it's less. Okay, it does get rid of. That does get rid of any penalties you would impose. I don't know if that would. Yeah, it's funnier that actually that you both bust out magic over this, and like Yang is like supernaturally reading the dead wall and looks up to Old Man, and then just suddenly feels like a wall slam down in front of your perceptions. Well, hold on, what? No.
Yeah, this is basically like some kaiji like metaphorical visualization bullshit. Like the Iron Wall of Berlin just slammed down in front of me, and then again, like I'm just trapped in my own devices. And I have to play mahjong on my side. He plays mahjong.
The copper wall of Old Man, yes.
The copper wall.
And okay, so just for helpful reference for new system norms here, we can go up to at 5 anima is when you start doing damage to stuff. So you got 4 motes of effective personal. You're being loud because all motes are loud now.
You will glow, but you will not be on fire.
But that's that is the threshold for just being glowy.
Yang just rolls finesse performance because he plays clown mahjong. I think
Okay.
you all know what clown mahjong is.
Oh, yes, I've seen it. I've played it.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
I rolled just
You're just draw going.
I rolled force awareness to just draw go.
Yeah,
There's no
you are
finesse.
Yeah, you're just hoping a hand shows up and one doesn't. And Yang tries to play smart, but tries to lean in too hard and then realizes that Old Man is fucking around even harder and it's almost impossible to read, and you discard directly into his hand.
Unfortunately, by virtue of your level of fucking around, you have begun to find out.
Mm-hmm.
this is why I fucking hate this game. This game sucks shit. We shouldn't play it ever. Who suggested this garbage?
You did?
You are a mahjong themed superhero, child.
Don't point that out.
New Old Man's
think
kind of
once-
fun. Scary, but kind of fun. I say this out loud.
Did you finish
think
writing
once
out
the
your
giddiness-
experience?
Yes.
I think once the giddiness wears off.
Yeah, I recorded it. I just handed a paper to repose of like, here's the Cliff Notes version of what I think he's trying to say.
I would normally allow such matters to lie entirely within the confidence of those who experienced them, but exactly this situation is one must collect all available omens and cross-reference.
Really, that ominous, huh? All right.
There
I
is an
think once
artist.
the giddiness wears off, I will be more back to what I was like before. But right now, I do not care.
Stalwart daughter has sat down at the mahjong table.
Yeah.
Salvador was the 4th player and was just kind of
Oh, hold
nudging the tiles.
Yep, good. 5 dice. Yep, that's her pool.
There's an artist rendition of the campfire scene from Obsidian Stream.
Alright, difficulty to awareness to notice that a tile is missing from the set, and it's going to throw off the meta for the entire next round.
Oh, you piece of shit. Okay, yeah, everybody who's playing Mahjong has to roll an awareness check.
Well. Alright, so I do have 0 awareness.
I opt out. Yeah, he's dumb enough to trust his hearth.
That was your first mistake.
Milan looks over the cup of coffee behind Stalwart Daughter's head, where Moat is resting, with one of the white dragon tiles in his mouth.
Sips the cup of coffee.
Moat
I'm
has
going to
two
roll a
dice.
Sips the cup of
single-
coffee while you notice that old man is going for dragons.
I'm going to go and roll a single force die.
Okay.
If this gets the 10, then I'll be able to
then
notice
you'll
it
get
maybe.
it, but if not.
But from raw perception alone, no.
Okay, if you were botching, then yeah, you were going all in on getting the white dragon draw, but otherwise, no.
I am not going for Daisangen.
You were going for big dragon.
Yeah, Daisangen.
Yeah, so it just unfolded as during the shuffle, Moat briefly jumped on the table to be like, I'm a cat who is confused by sudden motions. Yep, that's all I'm doing here. Swat. And then walk off the table with his prize.
For those in the audience, one of Moat's tertiary pool notes is crime.
Thief.
Yeah, well, I can.
Milan has already finished writing out his very detailed and very wow. You put a lot into that, didn't you, Milan?
You had a lot to vent, huh?
Are you okay, Milan?
No.
No.
It's at this point, by the way, the old man will notice that he is not currently got Wood Dragon Claws running, and then notice like, oh well, that's not normal. And then he's going to generate a pair of Wood Dragon Claws in the form of just regular, non-incredibly long single-tooth Geta. It's in fact just regular two-tooth walking sandals.
See, that makes sense.
Just completely standard feet style.
Season
You're
2
gonna
of Old Man
someone-
is weird.
Someone in heaven hates this, and honestly, I'm starting to like it because of it.
So, is there a general discussion to be had over the board? Because that's the only thing I would have be done before the session ends. So,
Yeah, let's-
y'all wanna do that.
So-
or-
Angler's
let
actually
us-
going to, since he's been sitting off to the side for a little bit, walk up and just, in large letters right on the board, moon, and then just walk away.
you can actually feel your pant leg get
The-
snagged by the claws of Moat hanging around one of your pant legs. It's like,
Yeah, grab, nope, finish the rest.
Pauses, underlines moon, picks up Moat by the scruff of Moat's neck, and just kind of looks at Moat and says, not right now.
And what did they tell you? And that is repose now. As you are turning back, he is already there. And
Moat is leaning in as Repose leans in.
I got a lot of information. I don't know
From?
what I'm at liberty to share.
about...
We have a new target.
How? At the word of we have a new target, I'm like, how is there a seventh party involved?
Again, please give me a little bit of time. I need to make sure I don't break any promises when I explain this.
raising of a finger to just like wait a moment, but then walking past you to the board and taking a moment to start listing out some numbers alongside these descriptions of what people experienced. So, Yang's dream, there was himself and a second presence that, you know, seemed to act about stuff. Propose's dream, there was Azar and then himself. Two people involved. A third once he brought Chief into the affair. Milan's dream. 3 figures involved. And yeah, there are all these dreams that are already on the board involved multiple beings apparently having meaningful communication with each other. Repose wants to, like, tap angrily at the board and invite the point of, so, were we in contact with these other people during the night, or were these only internal visions?
Would bring up...
Pointing at all of these numbers and connections, and then pointing over at Moon, and spelling out a bunch, just start writing out an ongoing screed of things relating to how Luna does things in dreams.
One moment, takes out wooden mask, puts it on. Let's see if she's having her morning coffee. And casts spoke the wooden face.
You are able to get in, and you see Vanith at her table with her morning tea, going through her paperwork, looking slightly disheveled.
No, I see.
Morning, Grandma.
Oh, Milan. Good morning.
Loud, audible sip through the mask of drinking coffee. Didn't sleep well either.
Jaw slowly slackens as she stares at the mask. You...
Hey, I had a weird dream last night.
I see.
And at that, I'm going to give the details. And does that sound familiar?
Close enough. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, sorcery. All right, got it.
Hey, Milan, sorry to interrupt. Just to confirm this for myself, does she know if my father is out of his coma yet?
Hey, do you have an update on that Kathak senator who had
Karagath? I believe
Yeah.
he's still comatose. They've tried everything to get him out of it, and it almost seems like he doesn't want to get out.
Yeah, that explains.
One sec, relays. Yeah, your dad's still vegetable.
Mm-hmm. That explains how he appeared in my dream.
Mask goes back on. Yeah, we're trying to figure out who's yeah.
So,
Someone linked all our dreams.
you met your grandmother. You met with your father. I met with my aunt. Rather, I was allowed to witness my aunt. This is usually the case between us. Yang, you met with someone?
I threatened them very pointedly.
As you do.
They were being a dick, to be fair.
Old man met himself.
You hear, and maybe if you were looking up, witness that there is a second javelin that was thrown into the sky and then kind of explodes up there.
Just old man
And then it
setting
starts
off
to
cold
snow a little
fireworks.
bit. Yeah, and it starts to snow for a little while.
So, let us then be more to the point. Angler, who did you meet?
Guan. And I got some information from Guan. Guan and Sybil, they've been chasing something that knows when they're coming, so they want us to go find it. And it's probably in Grey Falls.
Was that so difficult? And immediately after finishing that, lean in a little. You may keep that answer to yourself and lean back.
As soon as you lean in, there's just a very slight flicker in Angler's eyes of, you best walk away now. He is in no mood for games.
And Repose is starting to clean off the boards. Satisfied that, noting internally to himself that, yes, it would be entirely Moon to be sure to take this last possible opportunity to reveal onto Repose the thing he had noticed before he was on his way to deal with it.
Oh my god, I just realized something.
Yeah.
So, Milan had that dream, and Venif had that dream. And I'm gonna guess that Nemen probably had that dream. There was a fourth person in that dream.
Hmm.
Wait, was there? I might have zoned out for that.
Mm-hmm.
Red.
Red was in the dream.
Good shit. Oh yeah.
Which that might have been red. That might have been a metaphor of red. It remains to be
knows?
seen.
These are the mysteries. Woo.
Thoughts that hadn't occurred to the storyteller until exactly right now, yes.
And now you have a gun.
Ho ho ho.
Yar ho ho.
Yo ho har.
So with that all settled, unless there's other things to discuss, I think that's a good place to call it for the night. Cool time. Next
Well, I
time.
think, to prompt here for next time, I think Repose wants to split off and head home, and then catch up with folks at the falls. Specifically, report in without the rest of the hearth around.
Yes.
Then otherwise, adventure?
Sure.
Handling moon dreams, adventure, checking in on stuff.
No way.
Essence.
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 More like essence, am I right? Ah, got it.
But bump.